So welcome to everybody. This period is a very challenging period for India and the world, right? The most important problem we are facing, in fact, which is threatening the existence of humankind, is Covid-19. And from March to May, as all of you know, we had a lot of issues. How to safeguard ourselves from this deadly pandemic, and what kind of measures we need to take to shield ourselves from the adverse impact of this virus. Right? Friends, Covid-19 or the coronavirus is not just it's not just a health hazard, okay? It is a potential social and economic hazard which had pushed the global economy into recession. You know, Karl Marx always said that it is the economy that determines our approach to life. Of course, there is a very age-old debate between sociologists and Marxists that whether social factors will make a difference in our life or economic factors. But friends, for all of us, we know, it is the economy that matters. Okay, so the point is, any possible disruption to economy is bound to have an adverse impact on our way of life, and this is exactly what the COVID-19 pandemic has done to the world. The shutdown, the global shutdown, you just can't find any country which is not impacted adversely by COVID-19, and India too was a victim. It is a victim because still we are fighting the war against, or the battle against the virus, because we also had to resort to shutdown. We all know that stay homes, we have been staying at home, most of us, and in fact the reason for having this online is also to get you prepared for your UPSC, which is round the corner. It has been postponed, right? So anyway, what is India's approach to COVID-19? What are the diverse factors that influenced India's response to COVID? One of the key areas is the Reserve Bank of India. Friends, we have seen a series of measures right from the announcement of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana as early as in March, right? So, because from March 1st to May 31st, they had implemented this Garib Kalyan Yojana, though the announcement came towards the end of the month. Okay, so we do have a variety of measures. One of the key important stakeholders in this process is Reserve Bank of India. Friends, as I mentioned on the board, which you could see, the link between, what is the link between Reserve Bank of India and COVID-19? Why is it that we need to talk about Reserve Bank of India's interventions in COVID-19? Because as the economy had almost halted, the entire financial system got impacted. Your earnings got impacted, my earnings got impacted. Everybody is directly or indirectly impacted by COVID-19, right? So the whole intricate world of finance and economy has to be guarded by RBI, because we have a financial system that needs to be running always, otherwise it will lead to a total collapse. RBI in India, it has always been observed by many RBI governors, also has an objective of controlling the inflation in India and ensuring stability of the financial system by its various measures like monetary policy. Okay, so RBI had to intervene, and friends, In fact, RBI definitely woke up early. As I have mentioned here, I don't want to abstract the board view. As I have mentioned here, it is actually as early as February that RBI had taken notice of COVID-19. It said there could be the hints which we should see, because there was softening of crude oil prices as early as February. In fact, if you want me to tell you the exact date, it was on February 6th that RBI made an observation, and there has been a bearish tendency. What do you mean by bullish and bearish tendencies? When you say bullish, you want to buy in stock market terminology. When you are bearish, you want to sell. When do you sell? When you feel some kind of insecurity, right? So as early as February 6th, 2020, we have a scenario where the crude oil prices were softening. In fact, it has even become negative. If you could remember, I don't know how many of you are following the newspapers and others. So, in March, the global economy was already impacted. In India, we did have a late entry of COVID-19, as you could know by now. But as well as March, RBI said, we are ready. We are watching the situation and we are ready to intervene at any point of time depending on the requirement. And most importantly, it had actually formed a crack team of top officers in RBI. We have 150 strong crack team that was formed by RBI to work around the clock and to ensure the smooth functioning of the financial system in India. And if you remember, even on May 22nd, when we had RBI Governor's announcement, the MPC, second MPC, Monetary Policy Committee, he was referring to these people, and you will be surprised. This crack team never stepped out of RBI, because the moment you go out of RBI, you don't know whether you are hit by COVID or Corona, or you may bring it inside RBI. These people had totally stopped their dealings with the families and everything. We should thank them, because this crack team was one of the early things that RBI has done to keep itself ready to wage a war against the COVID-19. Friends, by March end, it acted very fast. If we had the lockdown beginning in the second half of March, by 24th, we already had the lockdown problem, right? So, RBI gave a first booster dose to the economy, to the banking system, as well as the common people by March 27th. In fact, it was the first monetary policy committee meeting in times of pandemic. And friends, this meeting was actually not supposed to have happened on 27, but they had advanced it so that they would actually take a faster look. They would act fast in these conditions. So the most interesting development was repo rate was cut by 75 basis points. Now what is repo rate? Repo rate is the interest RBI charges from banks on the loans it extends to banks, right? So if you are reducing repo rate, money will become cheaper for banks. Excuse me. Money will become cheaper for banks, and banks reduce interest rates, so money will become also cheaper for you and me. Then reverse repo, which is always dependent on repo, was also cut by 100 basis points. And we have a very important point here, which is called LTRO. In the preliminary examination, friends, All these could be asked as point SWOT statements. Why are we having this class now? Because the exam got postponed. Now June 5th the UPSC will announce, and exam will be sometime in July. So all these could be potential bids for you. Not only for UPSC, even I know many of you are also writing mains for APPSC Group 1. There could be a question. Of course, prelims we have already crossed, but UPSC, any of these could be asked. Okay. So what is LTRO? Long-term repo operations is a term that indicates long-term repo loans given by RBI to banks. Normal repo loans are short-term, whereas LTRO operations are, the loans duration is 2 to 3 years, so banks need not worry about paying it back to RBI immediately. So, in the first booster dose of RBI to the economy and banks, LTRO operations, by LTRO they have infused a liquidity of rupees 1 lakh crore to banks. All these are connected. I will tell you why it is connected. Okay, at the same time, they also imposed a 3 months moratorium on all term loans taken by people, MSMEs, industries or whatever. So you need not pay any equated monthly installment for 3 months, that is from March, April and May. March 1st to May 31st they had extended. Now why is this LTRO infusion of nearly 1 lakh crore? Because banks will not be getting the loans that are due to them because of the moratorium or deferment. So that's why first you pay provision to banks to get some liquidity. Liquidity is cash, and then you stop EMI so that the financing system will be safe and secure. Anyway, as you know, in the second MPC meeting that has happened 8 days back, sorry, we have the 3 months moratorium which is supposed to have expired tomorrow, that is from June 1st, May 31st is the last. So it got extended by 3 more months, which is up to August 31st. So you may get as well a question that EMI moratorium as extended by RBI extends from March to August 31st. I'm sure you will be writing prelims before August 31st if everything goes well. So this could be a question. These are the things you need to be careful. In fact, friends, your job becomes tough now. You need to be more and more careful. So anyway, so these are some of the important measures that was in the first booster dose. There are certain others also, LCF, MCF and all those things have also been liberally, the MSF is marginal standing facility, LAF is liquid adjustment facility. All these are the measures where banks can access some additional liquidity from RBI. All these have been relaxed. And we also have in April, the situation continued. So another 25 basis repo rate was cut in April, and in addition to 1 lakh LTRO long-term repo operations, okay, another 50,000 crore has been given. So from say March to May end, RBI had actually given scope for 1.5 lakh crore LTRO. That is an important point which you should remember. Okay, so then mutual funds. In last month April, one of the important problem was also mutual funds, because many people invest in MFs and mutual funds have to be safe. They should be having enough liquidity. So they had given, RBI had announced a 5,000 crore for mutual funds. That is one very, very important step. And now we come to May, which is this month. The second MPC meeting during the Covid-19, during the lockdown period, has happened in the third week of May, and here the repo rate was cut by another 40%, for 40 BPS. BPS is basis points. That means 0.40%. 100 BPS is equal to 1%. So we have first 75 BPS, then we have 25, then we have 40. So 1.4% down was affected in repo rate in the period of lockdown. Now why this is important? Because technically the main phase of lockdown is from March to May. Of course, government has extended, with certain limitations, but lockdown actually is almost over for all practical purposes, because except educational institutions, movie halls and some of the interstate transport, things have started galvanizing, right? So in entire period from March to May, the core period of lockdown, RBI had cut down the repo rates by 140 basis points, 75 plus 25 plus 40. That is what you need to remember. Friends, EMI moratorium I already said. Then there are certain related measures taken up at this point of time by RBI. They include the changes in the classification of non-performing assets, right? So actually, generally, if a loan is not repaid for 3 months, if you are not paying equated monthly installment for 3 months, then it will be classified as NPA in the bank's books, and they will have to make a provisioning assuming that the loan is not going to be recovered. Okay, now what they said is, RBI said because of this extraneous conditions, the 90-day norm for classification of NPS will not be applicable. So banks will not show them in their balance sheets as NPS. Okay, that is also one thing. Then MSMEs, friends, there has been a focus on MSMEs. We do have the credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs. That is also actually RBI government has also announced, if you see, but RBI is also the regulator for banks. So RBI had also ensured that MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises will also get enough pie in these loans. MSMEs is a separate lecture for us. I will give that lecture in next 3-4 days for you. That's also very important from the examination point of view, prelims and mains this year. So, but these are largely bearing some few minor details. These are the main points for RBI to intervene for the Covid-19 pandemic or the lockdown induced by it. Now, what is the impact of it? Which I have not written here, but what is the impact of this? This is also an important point for you, friends. First of all, we should agree that Reserve Bank of India was definitely watchful. As I mentioned, it started observing situation as early as February. Secondly, the repo rate cut, the 2 booster doses, if you are reading newspapers, these are the words that you come across. The 2 booster doses that were there were 2 MPC meetings, in fact 3 repo cuts, but 2 MPC meetings, which are called the second booster dose. This is really timely because banks will have lot of problem for liquidity. Okay, we have to ensure 2 things. On one hand, we have to balance the economic loss because of lockdown. On the other hand, we need to spur demand. Friends, unless and until demand growth happens, no economy can survive. We have famous economist James Keynes. He said, in times of recession, you just dig the pits and fill the pits. If you don't have anything to do, just hire some people. You say you start taking the road from here, dig up to that end, and then again fill it back. Because income generation, purchasing power, if it increases, you tend to buy. If you buy, there is a demand. If there is a demand, there will be a supply. And this supply will trigger manufacturing. So manufacturing will trigger employment, and employment will trigger purchasing power, salaries, and when you have salary, you buy. This is the economic circle. That's why James Keynes said, dig the pits and fill the pits. Okay, so like that, demand creation is also one very important aspect. So by reducing the repo, RBI was trying to motivate people to go for loans to buy things, whether it is automobiles or whether it is homes or whether it is investments by the industries, because the interest rate is low. If you are an entrepreneur or if you are an industrialist, you will definitely take some loan and invest in expansion. So these are fine, but there are some wait and watch points for us. One, the economic impact is not over now. For example, you see restaurants. So many restaurants have been closed. How many businesses will be able to survive and come back? What kind of employment will come to the people? Will the migrant laborers? They had, we have seen this issue on the migrant laborers. That's one more issue for us in the essay topic also. Whether it is UPSC or MPSC Group 1, which you might be writing, the essay topics you will have to revise now, because whatever you have read earlier may not be relevant now. Most of the things have changed, friends. Our life has changed. The exam approach should also be changed. And after prelims, you don't get much time also for mains if the situation is like this. So, anyway, if migrant laborers are not there, how the construction will happen? Okay, we can't do the economic activity, right? So, whether banks will be able to receive the EMIs later, whether there is adequate demand that can be created in the country in the post-lockdown. Of course, NREGA is one issue. The government has increased allocation for NREGA, hoping that the wage days, earning days will also increase. If you are following newspaper, hoping that that money will be there so that they will buy. But we need to wait and watch. The impact of RBI's measures, we need to wait and watch, right? So this is the main points which you need to remember. Now let me tell you how this is going to help you in the prelims or mains. Friends, you may read 100 days, you may read 200 days, I may teach for 300 days. But then if we are unable to convert whatever discussion into the examination orientation, there is absolutely no use. So friends, in the preliminary examination, they can ask you any of these measures that RBI has taken, which of the following statements are true or false, like that. In the mains examination, they can ask you, how do you think that RBI's intervention to deal with the Covid-19 lockdown can help? Or do you think RBI was able to act fast in reviving the economy, or critically examine various steps taken by RBI in the wake of Covid-19 to keep the financial system intact, like that? There could be some questions for you. Okay. So friends, thanks for seeing this, and it's not only useful for civils aspirants but also for Group 1. There is an email given to that, connect@drsridharsias.com. Please feel free to mail me whatever doubts you have. I will reach out to you. If you can also mention your phone number, I don't mind even calling you and explaining in person. So if there are more doubts, we will also explain in the class. I also request all of you to register in my website. That will give me your email IDs where we can contact, we can interact on a regular basis. As far as the registration is concerned, it is free of cost, and we don't harass you for joining courses. That is not, never. I have been teaching for many years in Hyderabad. It is never our intention to chase anybody for classes, but the kind of material or some essays I also write regularly in leading newspapers, so I can share with you. We can share some of the topics. So thanks for listening to me, and reflect on this. Think it over. If any doubts, you send a mail. You just please go to the right top side of our website and register yourself. You just have to give your email, and so that I can know who is actually watching. You can interact and get the doubts resolved. So friends, thanks. We'll have one more lecture, which is depending on for the APPSC students on river water sharing disputes, but this is for UPSC, and please be in touch. Good luck. Thank you.